The 1960s were a time of innovation, but not every pickup truck from that era hit the mark. In fact, some models were plagued with poor designs, weak performance, and reliability issues that made them highly unpopular. From underpowered engines to uncomfortable rides, these trucks left owners frustrated and disappointed. Let's dive in and explore the 13 worst pickup trucks in the 1960s nobody wants back. Number 13. 1960 Ford Ranchero. The Ford Ranchero is often remembered for its groundbreaking design as a car-based truck, but the models from the early 60s were far from ideal. Introduced in 1957, the Ranchero originally aimed to combine the utility of a truck with the sleek style of a car. However, between 1960 and 65, the Ranchero was redesigned to fit the compact Ford Falcon platform. This change was made to meet the rising demand for smaller, more affordable vehicles during a time when the economy was struggling. The unique concept of the Ranchero was intriguing, blending a coupe's smooth lines with the practicality of a truck bed. Unfortunately, this combination didn't work as well as hoped. The proportions appeared awkward, making it look like neither a proper car nor a capable truck. The 1965 model featured some cosmetic updates like a new grille and sculpted sides, but the overall design still failed to impress. Under the hood, the Ranchero offered a variety of engines, ranging from a 144 cubic inch 2.4-liter inline 6 that produced 85 horsepower to a 289 cubic inch 4.7-liter V8 that delivered up to 200 horsepower. Buyers could choose between a 3-speed manual transmission, a 2-speed Ford-O-Matic automatic, and later a 3-speed C4 Cruise-O-Matic automatic. Despite its innovative approach, the early 1960s Ranchero models struggled with poor design and limited practicality. The awkward proportions and weak bed structure, especially under heavy loads, led to its reputation as one of the least successful pickups of the 1960s. Number 12. 1960 Chevrolet Corvair Rampside. The Chevrolet Corvair Rampside is remembered as a pickup truck that didn't quite live up to expectations. It was introduced in 1961 as a part of Chevrolet's attempt to compete with Volkswagen's Type 2 van and pickup. Built on the Corvair platform, it had a unique rear-engine design and forward control layout, which placed the driver almost directly above the front wheels. The Rampside was part of the Corvair 95 series, named after its 95-inch wheelbase, and was produced from 1961 to 1964 with a focus on the 60-61 models. What made the Rampside stand out was its side-loading ramp, which allowed for easier loading and unloading of cargo. This ramp, hinged at the bottom, could be lowered to form a gentle incline, making it a rare feature in pickup trucks at the time. The trunk was powered by a rear-mounted, air-cooled 145 cubic inch 2.4-liter flat-six engine, which produced 80 horsepower and 128 pound-feet of torque. Buyers could choose between a 3-speed manual transmission or a 2-speed Power Glide automatic. Despite its creative design, the Rampside had several problems. Its forward control layout led to awkward proportions and poor weight distribution, causing handling and stability issues. The driver's seat, placed over the front wheels, made for a rough and uncomfortable ride. The rear-engine design often led to overheating and made the truck harder to maintain. These flaws, combined with its unusual appearance, resulted in the Rampside being viewed as one of the worst pickup trucks of the 1960s. Number 11. 1961 Dodge D100 SWEP line. The Dodge D100 SWEP line was introduced in 1961 as part of Dodge's D-Series, aiming to create a more stylish and functional pickup truck. Its design was a departure from traditional trucks, featuring a straight-sided bed instead of the common step-side style, giving it a more modern look for the time. Dodge produced the D100 SWEP line between 61 and 65, focusing on offering buyers a truck with both a sleek appearance and practical utility. It also had a new drop center frame, which improved stability and came with a fuel-efficient overhead valve slant 6 engine. Inside, the truck offered more space and luxury, including a well-designed dashboard, making it more comfortable than other trucks in its class. The D100 SWEP line offered multiple engine choices, including a 170 cubic inch 2.8-liter slant 6, a 225 cubic inch 3.7 liter slant 6, and a 318 cubic inch 5.2 liter V8 engine. Depending on the engine, the truck's power ranged from 101 to 200 horsepower. Buyers could also choose between a 3-speed manual transmission, 4-speed manual, or 3-speed push-button automatic. Despite its modern features, the D100 SWEP line earned a poor reputation due to its harsh ride, stiff steering, and uncomfortable suspension, especially on rough roads. Its boxy design and lackluster performance led it to be considered one of the worst pickup trucks of the 1960s. Number 10. 1960 Chevrolet C10 Fleetside. The Chevrolet C10 Fleetside was first introduced in 1960 as part of Chevrolet's CK series, which replaced the older Task Force series. This marked a major change in both design and engineering, as Chevrolet aimed to create a truck that offered a smoother, more car-like ride while still being functional for work. The C10 Fleetside was produced between 1960 and 1966, and during that time, it became known for its unique features. One standout feature of the C10 Fleetside was its bed design. Unlike the traditional step-side beds with external fenders, the Fleetside featured smooth, flat sides. Another major change was the introduction of independent front suspension with torsion bars, replacing the solid front axles used in older models. However, this setup was switched to a coil spring suspension in 1963 due to issues with the torsion bars. The C10 Fleetside came with several engine options. The earliest models included a 235 cubic inch 3.9 liter inline-6 engine with 135 horsepower and a 283 cubic inch 4.6 liter V8 engine that produced about 160 horsepower. By 1963, Chevrolet also added a 230 cubic inch 3.8 liter inline-6 and a 292 cubic inch 4.8 liter inline-6. Despite these features, the truck was often criticized for poor handling and excessive rusting. The early suspension system did not perform as expected, and its boxy appearance made it look outdated, more suited for work than everyday use. Number 9. 1961 Jeep Gladiator J200. The Jeep Gladiator J200, introduced in 1962, was part of the Jeep SJ series, designed to be a tough and versatile pickup truck. Developed by Kaiser Jeep and later produced by American Motors Corporation after 1970, the J200 was expected to continue the Jeep legacy of rugged off-road vehicles. However, despite its promising beginnings, the truck fell short in several key areas. The J200 was only in production for a short time, from 1962 to 1964, though the overall J series lasted until 1988. Under the hood, the J200 came with a 230 cubic inch 3.8 Tornado inline-6 engine, which delivered 140 horsepower and 210 pound-feet of torque. This engine stood out as the only overhead cam engine in a light truck at the time, showcasing some technical advancements. The J200 offered a 3-speed manual transmission as standard, with the option of a 4-speed manual or a 3-speed automatic. Despite its solid specifications, the J200 is remembered for its awkward design and disappointing performance. The long, flat front gave it an outdated look, and many owners faced issues with rust and structural problems. For a Jeep, its off-road capabilities were also lacking, as it struggled with handling and stability on rough terrain. The combination of design flaws and poor performance made it one of the least desirable pickups of the 1960s. Number 8. 1960 Studebaker Champ. The Studebaker Champ is often remembered for its clumsy design and poor durability, which made it one of the least popular pickups of the 1960s. Introduced in 1960, the Champ was Studebaker's last attempt to refresh its aging truck lineup. The company was struggling financially, and the Champ was developed with a tight budget of $900,000. To keep costs down, they reused the cab from the Studebaker Lark sedan, which led to a blend of car and truck parts. The Champ was produced from 1960 to 1964. It came with several engine options, a 170 cubic inch 2.8 liter inline-6 that produced 90 horsepower, a 259 cubic inch 4.2 liter V8 offering 180 horsepower, and a 289 cubic inch 4.7-liter V8 that delivered up to 210 horsepower. Transmission choices included a 3-speed manual, a 4-speed manual, and a 3-speed automatic called the Flight-O-Matic. The Champ was considered a failure for several reasons. Its attempt to mix car-like comfort with truck functionality fell short due to its awkward design. The cab from the Lark sedan resulted in mismatched lines and an unattractive look. The ride was uncomfortable because of its outdated suspension system, which was essentially borrowed from the 1949 Studebaker trucks. Additionally, the Champ was known for rusting, especially in the cab floor and front fenders. Number 7. 1962 Chevrolet Corvair 95. The Chevrolet Corvair 95 is a classic example of a truck that didn't make much of an impression. This model, based on the Corvair, was introduced in 1961 and was intended to compete with the Volkswagen Type 21. The Corvair 95, which included the Corvan, Greenbrier, and Rampside, was named after its 95-inch wheelbase. Produced from 1961 to 1965, the Corvair 95 is particularly remembered for the models made between 62 and 66. It was powered by a rear-mounted, air-cooled 2.4-liter flat-six engine that generated 80 horsepower and 128 pound-feet of torque. Buyers could opt for either a 3-speed manual transmission or a 2-speed automatic transmission known as Power Glide. The Corvair 95 faced several major issues that hurt its reputation. The rear-mounted engine led to poor weight distribution, making the truck difficult to control, especially in emergency situations. The forward control design placed the driver almost directly over the front wheels, resulting in a bumpy and uncomfortable ride. Additionally, the truck's boxy and utilitarian look made it seem more like a tool for the worksite rather than a vehicle for daily use. These problems, along with safety concerns and its unappealing design, contributed to its poor standing as one of the least favored pickup trucks of the 1960s. Number 6. 1965 Dodge A100 Pickup. The Dodge A100 made its debut in 1964 as part of the Chrysler Corporation's push into the compact truck market. It was designed with a cab-over-engine layout, which meant that the driver sat almost directly over the front axle. This distinctive design set the A100 apart from other trucks of its time, but it also came with its own set of challenges. The A100 was built from 1964 to 1970, and the 65 model was among the first produced. It offered a range of engine options for that year. The choices included the 170 cubic inch 2.8-liter slant-six engine, which produced 101 horsepower, the 225 cubic inch 3.7-liter slant-six engine with 140 horsepower, and the 273 cubic inch 4.5-liter LA V8 engine that delivered 174 horsepower. The truck was available with either a 3-speed manual transmission or a 3-speed automatic transmission, which was called the Load Flight. The A100's unusual cab-over-engine design resulted in a short, stubby front end and a high, somewhat awkward driving position. This layout made the truck feel strange on the road, with poor handling and an uncomfortable ride. The driver sat almost directly over the front wheels, which caused a bumpy and less enjoyable driving experience. This design choice contributed to the A100 being considered one of the less favorable trucks of its era. Number 5. 1964 Ford Econoline Pickup. The Ford Econoline pickup is often remembered for its unusual design and underwhelming performance, making it one of the least popular pickups of the 1960s. Introduced in 1961, the Econoline pickup was Ford's answer to competitors like the Volkswagen Type 2 and Chevrolet Corvair 951. The Econoline series, which included both vans and pickups, was known for its forward control design. Production of the Econoline pickup ran from 61 to 67, with the models from 64 to 66 being part of this initial production phase. During these years, the truck came with a variety of engine options. The 64 to 66 models featured engines such as the 144 cubic inch 2.4 liters Falcon 6 producing 85 horsepower, the 170 cubic inch 2.8 liters Thrift Power 6 generating 101 horsepower, and the 240 cubic inch 3.9 liters engine introduced in 1965. Transmission choices included a 3-speed manual and a 3-speed automatic. The Econoline pickup's cab-over-engine design created a stubby front end and placed the driver in a high, awkward position. This resulted in poor handling and a bumpy ride, as the driver was seated almost directly over the front wheels. The truck's odd appearance and imbalance due to uneven weight distribution further contributed to its unpopularity among consumers. Number 4. 1967 Chevrolet C20 Camper Special. The Chevrolet C20 Camper Special was part of Chevrolet's second-generation CK series, introduced in 1967. It was designed to meet the rising demand for trucks that could handle slide-in campers, which were becoming popular in the late 60s. Production of the C20 Camper Special lasted from 1967 to 1969. This model came with a variety of engine options. Buyers could choose from a 250 cubic inch 4.1-liter inline-6 engine, a 292 cubic inch 4.8-liter inline-6 engine, or V8 options such as the 350 cubic inch 5.7-liter engine and the 396 cubic inch 6.5-liter engine. The 350 cubic inch V8 engine delivered 195 horsepower and 305 pound-feet of torque. The truck also offered several transmission choices: a 3-speed manual, a 4-speed manual, and a 3-speed turbo hydromatic automatic transmission. Although the C20 Camper Special was built to be durable, it was often criticized for its bulky and clumsy appearance. The truck's boxy design lacked any sense of style, making it visually unattractive. Furthermore, its ride quality was quite stiff and uncomfortable, even compared to other work trucks of the time. The heavy-duty suspension that helped it handle heavy loads also made long drives unpleasant, especially when compared to newer trucks that began to offer more comfort and better handling. Number 3. 1961 Ford F100 Unibody. The Ford F100 Unibody was an ambitious but ultimately flawed attempt at a new pickup truck design. Introduced in 1961, Ford aimed to streamline the vehicle and cut costs by creating a single piece that combined the cab and the bed. The new design was meant to attract suburban buyers who wanted a truck that felt more like a car with a sleeker and smoother ride. The F100 Unibody was made from 1961 to 1963. It came with 2 main engine choices: a 223 cubic inch 3.7-liter inline-6 engine and a 292 cubic inch 4.8-liter V8 engine. The inline-6 engine produced 137 horsepower, while the V8 engine offered 160 horsepower. The truck had several transmission options, including a 3-speed manual, a 4-speed manual, and the 3-speed Ford O-Matic automatic transmission. However, the unibody design had some major problems. The integrated body and bed gave the truck a clunky look and awkward proportions, making it less practical and less attractive. More importantly, the unibody construction wasn't strong enough for heavy-duty use. When carrying cargo, the truck's body would flex and twist, sometimes causing the doors to jam. This was a significant issue for a truck that was supposed to be a work vehicle. The unibody design also struggled with stresses of off-road driving and heavy loads, leading Ford to switch back to the traditional body-on-frame design in 1964. Number 2. 1965 Plymouth Barracuda Pickup. The Plymouth Barracuda pickup was a unique and short-lived experiment by Plymouth, trying to merge the sporty features of the Barracuda with the practicality of a pickup truck. Introduced in the early 60s, this vehicle aimed to appeal to those who wanted both performance and utility. However, its production was brief, and exact years are not well documented due to its limited run and poor perception. The Barracuda pickup used the same engine options as the standard Barracuda models, including a 170 cubic inch 2.8-liter slant-6 engine, a 225 cubic inch 3.7-liter slant-6 engine, and a 273 cubic inch 4.5-liter V8 engine. The 170 cubic inch slant-6 engine produced 101 horsepower, the 225 cubic inch slant-6 engine delivered 145 horsepower, and the 273 cubic inch V8 engine offered a stronger 180 horsepower. It came with several transmission options, a 3-speed manual, a 4-speed manual, and a 3-speed torque-flight automatic transmission. The Barracuda pickup faced criticism for its awkward design, which struggled to blend the sporty features of the Barracuda with the practical aspects of a pickup truck. The body and bed were integrated in a way that created unattractive proportions and a clunky appearance. Furthermore, the truck's structure was not ideal for heavy-duty tasks. Its lack of a separate bed meant it couldn't handle significant loads without compromising its strength. And number 1, the 1961 Ford F-Series. The Ford F-Series from the early 60s represents the 4th generations of Ford's famous truck lineup. Launched in 1961, this new generation aimed to give the F-Series a modern update with a lower and wider cab and several new design changes. It was produced until 1966, during which time it offered various engine options. These included the 223 cubic inch 3.7-liter mileage maker inline 6, the 292 cubic inch 4.8-liter Y-block V8, and later the 352 cubic inch 5.8-liter FE V8. The 223 cubic inch inline 6 delivered 137 horsepower, while the 292 cubic inch V8 provided 186 horsepower. The later 352 cubic inch V8 offered even more power. Buyers could choose from several transmission options, including a 3-speed manual, a 4-speed manual, and a 3-speed Ford O-matic automatic transmission. Although the 1961 through 66 F-Series was popular, it had several design flaws that led to it being listed among the worst pickup trucks of the 1960s. One major criticism was the twin I-beam front suspension, introduced in 1965. While designed to improve handling, it often resulted in a rough ride. The truck's boxy, utilitarian design also looked outdated compared to its competitors. Additionally, the unibody design used from 1961 to 1963 was criticized for poor structural integrity, leading to problems like body flex and doors jamming when loaded. These 13 pickup trucks in the 1960s may have made history, but for all the wrong reasons. Which of these trucks do you think was the worst? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.